If you're watching this video, just know, your mental health matters, your life matters, and of course, you matter. I, BC King, care about you. Welcome back to Gaming Hot Takes, a series where I read your hottest takes about various video games. In today's video, I'll be reading your hottest takes about Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow version. Now, I was going to separate these originally, but I feel like Yellow is still a little bit too similar to Red and Blue to really have its own video. So we're going to do all in one video. So with that said, let us get right into your hot takes. Wait a minute, hold on. Before we start, I gotta give a very special shout out to my sponsor for this video, Fluffle. If you adore anime plushies, graduation plushies, and more, then this website is for you. Use the code BCKing15 to save 15% on your first purchase. And use the link that is in the description. And come on, who wouldn't want one of these things? These things are amazing. Go get yourself a plushie because they're amazing. With that said, now let's get into the video. Pikachu should be allowed to evolve in Yellow. So I got this one a lot, and honestly, I kind of agree. I mean, here's the thing, I get why they didn't want you to, because like Pikachu is the mascot of Yellow, so they want you to like, you know, experience the game with Pikachu. But honestly, like if the player could at least have the option to like at the start of the game, like say, do you want this Pikachu to evolve in the future, and then say yes or no. That'd be kind of better in my opinion, because, you know, not everyone wants to be stuck with Pikachu, you know what I mean? So, honestly, I kind of agree here. I was fine with it personally, because I do love Pikachu a lot, but, again, I feel like giving the player the option at least to decide whether they want to evolve Pikachu, like, you know, when you first get it, like have Professor Oak say, like, do you want this Pikachu to evolve at some point? And you say yes or no, and then if you say no, it doesn't evolve, and then if you say yes, it does evolve. So, yeah, honestly, yeah, I agree with you here, but, didn't bother me that much, but, yeah, this one popped up a lot, so, that's why I included it, so, there you go. I agree with, this, but, personally, I was fine with it. I'm still mad that I couldn't move that damn truck. So if you guys don't know what they're talking about, there was a whole myth in Pokemon Red and Blue where, there was a truck, I think, I forgot what city it was in. I think it was in, maybe Vermilion City, or, I don't remember. But, basically there was a whole myth where, under the truck you would find Mew. And, I think there was, like, a glitch in the game that, like, let you actually do that. So, yeah, that was like one of the biggest myths. Kind of like how in Gen 3 people thought that like you could go to the moon and fight Deoxys with some like event or whatever. But yeah, there's a lot of like Pokemon lore throughout the games in terms of like stuff that you might be able to do if the game was maybe a bit glitchy or whatever. But yeah, I didn't learn this though until like a bit later in my life, and I was like, oh, I mean, that's kind of a weird place to find Mew, but I mean, I could see it happening, but, yeah, I mean, they'll probably, maybe if they make like a Gen 1, another remake or another game of it, they might, let you do that, because, I don't know, I mean, Let's Go didn't do it, so, they probably won't, but, yep, I guess that truck is forever gonna be stuck there, and, if Mew is under there, then, he's probably dead by now, he's been there for, like, over 20 years, so, there you go. They're absolutely awful games, poorly designed in so many ways, like there is no way to find out move data such as power and accuracy within the game itself, a multitude of glitches and coding oddities that break so many trainers, unbalanced, bizarre sprites. So yeah, here's the thing, it is the first game in the series and it is on the Game Boy, so if there are like weird things about it, I mean that's kind of just normal for any like first game in a big series like this. Like, they were, you know, they were trying to figure out, like, how they wanted certain things to work, you know what I mean? Like, moves, and, stats, and, sprites, and whatever else. So, I can kind of forgive that because, you know, again, they were figuring it out. They weren't gonna, like, nail it perfectly the first try. And, obviously, as you see now, like, you know, it's a lot more balanced, it's, more fluid, quality of life improvements, and, you know... So, I can kind of forgive that. I can see why people might be turned off if you're someone who, like, expects a near-perfect game, no matter what system it's on. But, for me, it's on the Game Boy. It's the first game in the series, and, you know, it's gonna have quirks about it, and, you know, they just gotta build off of that with, like, other gens. So, you know, to me this is kind of forgivable, but I can't understand, I can't understand if you're someone who, you know, wanted more out of it and didn't want it to be so glitchy, and you know, I understand that. I only played Yellow, and I think the amount of Pokemon you couldn't get without trading was unreasonable. Having replayed Yellow recently, I've come to really appreciate the quality of life improvements in later games, especially the inventory management. Also, the AI was really bad, but when I was an 8-year-old, I suppose it was the perfect challenge. So yeah, again, I was going to include Yellow as its own video, but I feel like Yellow is still a bit too similar overall to Red and Blue to really justify having its own video. I think the other ones will probably have their own videos, like maybe Emerald and Platinum, for example. But this one, I feel like there wasn't really enough to justify it being separate from Red and Blue for its own hot takes video. But yeah, I kind of see where you're coming from here. You know, you have to trade certain Pokemon from Red and Blue to Yellow to complete that Dex in Yellow. I feel like that's... I mean, other games have done that. I feel like Platinum was kind of the same way. Maybe Emerald was too, I don't remember. But it's not really a big issue. I mean, you know, it is the third version game of those two games. So, I mean, you know, they kind of want you to go back to Red and Blue and, you know, do stuff in that and then move things over to Yellow. So, not really a big issue for me. But yeah, I do appreciate, you know, the quality of life improvements as you mentioned here. I do appreciate that it has more color for one, because Red and Blue is very, very gray. I appreciate having your Pokemon follow you, which is something they need to bring back for God's sakes. I love that. And AI being really bad, I mean, if you mean the trainers, I don't really think they were that much of an issue. I mean, they were probably maybe more challenging than the newer games nowadays, but I guess I was fine with it. But yeah, overall, pretty good points here. My biggest complaint with Red and Blue is the movesets of important trainers' Pokemon. Like the champion's Rhydon only has Fury Attack and Horde Drill as attacking moves, while the other two do the exact same thing, being Leer and Tail Whip. Yellow is such a massive improvement over the original games, I'm surprised it doesn't get talked about as much when people bring up Gen 1. The last part I kinda don't agree with. I feel like people do talk about Yellow nowadays more than Red and Blue, because Yellow is like, you know, a more nostalgic game for people, because it has like the following Pokemon, it has more color, and it has some quality of life improvements as you mentioned here. The thing about the movesets, I actually didn't really know that. I mean, see, this is why I love doing hot takes, is because I learned things that I didn't even know myself about certain games that I've played. So, yeah, the movesets, I mean, here's the thing. It is the first game in the series. There weren't that many moves to begin with, so, I mean, nowadays, like, you know, the champion can have, like, moves from all other generations. Meanwhile, Gen 1 only had so many moves to pick from that made sense with that Pokemon. So, again, kind of forgivable. It's the first game. They were learning, and they obviously have better movesets for the champion in the later games. So, it is to be expected that this one maybe isn't the best, but, I thought it was fine. The champion was a fine, or had a fine team, you know, wasn't really that challenging, but, it was good for what it was, but, yeah, I'm pretty sure, if we're just judging based on movesets for the champions, then obviously the other ones are gonna be, like, high above this one. But, for what it was, I was pretty okay with it. These are the best games in the series because of their simplicity. They encompass the best of what made Pokemon good. Not to say that any of the other games are bad, but that each time these games were iterated, they lost a piece of the soul. So I think in the last Hot Takes video, which was the Zelda NES one, someone said that that was like a top 3 Zelda game for them, and I highly disagreed here. And, here's the thing. I love Pokemon. I do. But even I gotta disagree here as well, because even though I do like Yellow a lot, I feel like Pokemon has just evolved so much, no pun intended, into something bigger and better, that even though Yellow, as you said here, is simple, and simple can be good sometimes, I feel like I can't really put Yellow above so many other games in the series. I'd probably put Yellow above Sword and Shield and X and Y for sure, but against like Black and White, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Emerald, Platinum, Oras even, Diamond and Pearl, I can't, even though Yellow is, as you said, a simple game and it does improve a lot upon Red and Blue, I still think it has some things about it that I can't really put above other games in the series. But, yeah, and the last point you mentioned here, these games were iterated that they lost a piece of the soul. I don't really know if I agree with that, because I love Leaf Green and Fire Red, and I think Let's Go also captured the essence of Kanto pretty well. I'd probably say that Kanto, I don't know, I feel like because they are the first games in the series and there are really, there's like quirks about them, I think Red, Blue, and Yellow might be my least favorite way to play Gen 1. Not that it's a bad thing, but I just feel like Let's Go and Leaf Green and Fire Red did so much more to, you know, make Kanto feel more alive, if that makes sense. So, I get what you're saying here. I mean, there are people who still prefer Red, Blue, Yellow when it comes to Gen 1, which is fine. But, for me, I'd probably prefer playing Let's Go or Leaf Green and Fire Red over, the original Red, Blue, and Yellow. Stop! Now she'll die a virgin! Stop! Stop it! Okay. Stop. Okay.
Stay the fuck in the fucking car!
Oh, fuck! That was a sneak peek of all the content that you might be missing out on by not becoming a YouTube member. When you're a YouTube member, you get so much bonus content such as all my anime watch-throughs, classic content like old Twitch streams, movie watch-alongs, and more. So what are you waiting for? Hit the join button down below, pick the tier you want, and enjoy all the benefits that come with your YouTube membership. If you're already a member, thank you for your support, enjoy your benefits, and now let's get back into the video. Bulbasaur is probably the most overrated starter online. People always bring up how Charmander has a type disadvantage against Brock and Misty, but none of Brock's Pokemon in Gen 1 have Rock-type moves, and by the time you get to Misty, you can find a decent number of mons that counter her. So honestly, I do feel like Bulbasaur is my least favorite of the Gen 1 starters, not because I hate it, but because I just love Squirtle and Charmander more. But you bring up some good points here. Charmander, I think, can learn Metal Claw in the later games, but obviously there wasn't the Steel type in the original Gen 1, so you kinda are at a big disadvantage if you choose Charmander to go up against Brock and Misty. But also you do mention that Brock's Pokemon have no Rock-type moves. That's very interesting, so I guess maybe Charmander can beat Brock. I don't know. I think I did pick Charmander in Red, Blue, and Yellow, but I don't remember like how that experience was. It's been too long. I don't remember my experience with it. But also Misty, I feel like Misty is definitely a lot harder than Brock because I think Misty does have some Water-type moves that can beat Charmander. But as you mentioned here, there are mons you can find, like maybe Oddish or somebody that can counter Misty's Water-type moves. So yeah, but Bulbasaur being overrated, I don't really know if I agree with that point. Even though it is my least favorite of the Kanto starters, I don't know if it's like overrated or anything. I think it's just, you know, people... I feel like some people might base what their favorite starter is in every gen based on how they do against, like, the first 2 or 3 gym leaders, right? Because they don't want to, like, struggle with them. They don't want to have to, like, be stuck on them. So, I feel like in Gen 1 especially, people really did lean more towards the starters that, like, would let them get through the game easier. So, for me, like, Charmander was fine because I liked the challenge. But, yeah, but overall, pretty good points here. I think it was the most down-to-earth and realistic out of the franchise, from the simplistic story of becoming the champion while having run-ins with criminals. The fact that Team Rocket isn't some world-destroying cult or the equivalent of PETA with a large financial backing, but instead they're just a gang of thugs making them the better antagonist of the series as a whole. You get more in-depth knowledge of the world and Pokemon through dialogue and Pokedex entries, making it the best generation as far as the games go. So again, we talked about this in an earlier hot take, but I don't think Gen 1 is the best generation. I do appreciate people being nostalgic for it, but I feel like Gen 1 just has so many quirks about it that I can't put it above the other ones. But you got some good points here. I did like Team Rocket. I feel like other teams have done more to stand out, like Team Plasma, Team Galactic, what else? Team Skull even. So even though Team Rocket is a good evil team and really did, you know, kind of set the standard at that time for evil teams in Pokemon, I feel like other teams just have done more to, they've had, like, better plots, better stories, better lore to them, and better, like, ways of going about, like, you know, doing their evil plans. But, yeah, and the last point here, you get more in-depth knowledge of the world and Pokemon through, dialogue and dex entries. That is really cool. I do agree with that. I feel like I feel like pretty much every game does that, though, right? Like, you know, you have characters with dialogue that tell you more about the region and the Pokemon in that region. So, yeah, but, best generation, don't agree. I appreciate all you Gen 1ers out there. I like Gen 1, I really do. I appreciate it, but, yeah, like I said, Pokemon has evolved so much into, like, you know, something better and bigger than what it was at Gen 1, and there's just so much more amazing things about other generations that, I cannot put Gen 1 above most Pokemon generations. In retrospect, I feel like Red, Blue, and Yellow should have gotten a direct sequel like Black 2, White 2 instead of Gold, Silver, and Crystal. Same region with a new story, new areas, and some new characters. I mean, honestly, I feel like Leaf Green and Fire Red were kinda sequels in a way, because, like, they are remakes of Gen 1, but you got, like, the Sevi Islands you can go to, which, you know, add more to the Kanto region. So, I don't know. I mean, I feel like Gold, Silver, and Crystal, you know, like, you can go back to Kanto, but, like, it's not the same story, really, right? Like, you do fight the Kanto gym leaders again, but there's, like, new characters in that as well, and you can fight Red at the very end. So, yeah, I don't know. I would have been fine with it, I guess, but, again, I feel like Gen 2 really did, you know, for one, the fact that Johto and Kanto were in the same game was already mind-blowing, but also just, you know, even though Kanto is pretty unchanged for the most part when it comes to Gold, Silver, and Crystal, I don't think it really had to be changed. I feel like Gen 1 was just so, you know, there was nothing to really do with it, but, yeah, I guess, like, a new story, new areas would have been cool, but, I mean, you just went through this, like, new region, which is Johto, with these all new areas and characters and stories, so I guess, you know, they didn't want to cram all of that into Kanto as well, because, again, it was already a massive feat to have Kanto in the game as well with Johto, so, you know, if they try to tack on, like, a new story, new areas, new characters, it maybe wouldn't have fit in the first place, so, yeah, I was fine with it. I enjoyed go back to Kanto in Gold, Silver, and Crystal, but I didn't expect any, like, new elements, new stories, new parts about Kanto. It was fine, so yeah, I was fine with it. Splitting game content into two versions was bullshit from the start. Man, nowadays I could not agree more. I have almost never bought both versions of any generation. I think the only one I ever did for some, or actually no, I don't think I ever have. Cause I had Pokemon Blue and Yellow. I had Silver, or no, I had Gold, and I think I had Crystal. So yeah, I don't think I've ever bought both versions of any Pokemon generation, and honestly, I never will, because again, like you said here, even though each game has different Pokemon and different characters, I feel like there's not really a huge enough reason to want to buy both games, right? And also with how expensive the games are going to be nowadays with, like, Switch 2 and the economy, like, I feel like now more than ever, like, there is no reason to buy both versions of any Pokemon game. Now, if they do, like, just one game for each generation, like they're doing with, like, Legends ZA, for example, or just, sorry, I mean, if they have, like, a single game with all the elements, like, Legends ZA or Legends Arceus, I would love that. They probably won't, because the whole two version thing has worked out for so long, for, like, over 20 years at this point. So, I don't see them moving away from that, but, for me, I have no desire or passion to, buy both versions of any generation, and I love Pokemon, don't get me wrong, I've said that already, I love Pokemon to death, but, even my love for Pokemon will not make me buy both versions of any generation at any point in my life, so, yeah, if you're someone who is like that, if you like both versions, that's fine, but for me, I have no desire at all to ever buy both versions of any generation. A lot of people who harp on the newer games for having bad designs, Klefki for example, forget how fucking dog water some Gen 1 designs were when you really think about it. A lot of evolutions are just, hey, now there's 3 of them. The type diversity in Gen 1 is also kind of fucked. Why did there need to be so many goddamn poison types? With how insanely strong Psychic was, about 30-40% of the catchable Pokemon in Kanto just get their shit rocked because of their typing. Alright, some things to unpack here. So, honestly, I agree for sure with the first take. I feel like, you know, a lot of people will clown on, like, the newer generations designs, like Gen 8, Gen 9, Gen 7. But Gen 1, even though they are iconic, they're also not that great. I mean, you have, like, pretty basic Pokemon, like, who's a good example? You got Geodude, who's just a rock with arms. You got, I'm trying to think of, like, other good examples. If you know, you know. There's so many Pokemon in Gen 1 that have just basic-ass designs, so I don't get why people tend to clown on newer games when, like, even Gen 1 was not that great overall with the designs. The last part here about the type diversity, are there really that many goddamn poison types? Are there really? There's, like, Muck, Grimer, Coughing, Wheezing, Gloom, Victory Bell. Maybe there are, actually. You know what? Maybe there is. I don't think it's a bad thing, though. I feel like Poison is a pretty cool type, so maybe they wanted to, like, have it, like, a bunch of Pokemon for it. But, yeah, I mean, again, there's only... I feel like having Steel and Dark type with Gen 2 maybe helped that a bit. But, honestly, I feel like every gen will tend to have, like, maybe less or more of a certain type. I mean, Gen 4, we know, has, like, almost no fucking fire types. So, I mean, if you're someone who likes certain types, I guess that's kind of an issue. But for me, it's just like, I mean, every gen is gonna have, like, maybe less or more of a certain type. Because there's, like, 18 types now, so it's gonna be, like, maybe, you know... They won't be that balanced for the most part, but for what it was okay. I mean, every gen has its quirks, as I mentioned earlier, so, not a big deal for me. Why can't we have a bully antagonist rival who ends up as champion anymore? Why have they never done this again? This was such a simple, effective arc. Bro, I agree so much. I miss when rivals would be just a complete asshole to you. Why do the new rivals need to be nice? I don't understand. I mean, they can have, like, nice parts about them, but, like, they're your rival. They're supposed to be a dick to you at the start. That's why Gen 1 and 2 were so good, because, like, when you first started, you know, Blue and Silver were just a complete, like, jerk to you. They always, like, you know, bullied your team, they bullied your battling skills, and then, like, from Gen 3 onwards, they just became, like, super nice. They never really, like... I guess Barry in Gen 4 was kind of good, and maybe, I don't know, but, like, I do miss that. I hope they at least, like, here's the thing. If they want to have a nice rival in, like, other games, that's fine, but, like, at least have one character who is, like, a jerk rival. Like, give us 2 rivals. I mean, you can do that, right? I mean, you had it with Sharon and Bianca in Gen 5, so, and then Gen 6 has, like, 4 rivals, so, I mean, they can do it, they just don't want to, I don't know, but, like, yeah, I want to see a bully rival in a Pokemon game again, because I missed that. Gen 1 and 2 were so good, so, please, Pokemon, bring it back. If you need to have a nice rival, that's okay, but at least have a second rival who is a complete asshole, because in Pokemon games, I know it sounds kind of wrong to say this, but in Pokemon games, I love assholes. Alright folks, that is it for your Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow hot takes. And I'm sure that some of you watching this have a hot take for a future episode, so make sure you guys are following the BC King Gaming Hot Takes Reddit page. Link is right here or in the pinned comments, so go check it out. And in the meantime, make sure you guys subscribe, ring the bell, and smash that like button for more hot takes to come in the future. And I will see you guys, as always, in the next one. Goodbye, everybody!